Hi guys, I'm here to read some more from the Twits. When we left off, we found out more about the house the Twits live in and why they live the way they do. So today is called Four Sticky Little Boys. On one Tuesday afternoon, Mr. Twit had been up in the ladder smearing the tree with how four little boys crept to the garden to look at the monkeys. They didn't care about the thistles and the string nettles, not when there were monkeys to look at. After a while, they got tired of looking at the monkeys, so they explored further into the garden and found a ladder leaning against the big dead tree. They decided to climb it just for fun. There's nothing wrong with that. The next morning, when Mr. Twit went out to collect the birds, he found the miserable little boys sitting in the tree, stuck as tight as could be by the seat of their pants in the branches. There were no birds because the presence of the boys had scared them away. Mr. Twit was furious. As though there are no birds for my pie tonight, he shouted. Then it'll have to be boys instead. He started to climb the ladder. Boy pie might be better than bird pie, he went on, grinning horribly. More meat, not as so many tiny little bones. The boys were terrified. They're going to boil us, cried one of them. He'll stew us alive, wailed the second one. He'll cook us with carrots, cried the third. But the fourth little boy, who had more sense than the others, whispered, "Listen, I have an idea. We are only stuck by the seat of our pants." So, here they are, stuck by the seat of their pants. "Quick, unbutton your pants and slide out of them and fall onto the ground." Mr. Twit had reached the top of the ladder and was about to grab one of the nearest boys when all of a sudden they tumbled out of the tree and ran from home in their naked bottoms, winking in the sun. So there they are, running with no pants on. The next chapter is called The Great Upside Down Monkey Circus. Now, for the monkeys, 4 monkeys in a cage in a garden were all one family. They were the Muggle Wump and his wife and their 2 small children. But what on earth were Mr. and Mrs. Twit doing with the monkeys in the garden? Well, in the old days, they had both worked in the circus as monkey trainers. They used to teach monkeys to do tricks and dress up in human clothes and smoke pipes and the rest of that nonsense. Today, although they were retired, Mr. Twit still wanted to train monkeys. It was his dream to one day he would be the first great upside-down monkey circus in the world. That meant monkeys had to do everything upside down. They had to dance upside down on their hands with their feet in the air. They had to... So here are the monkeys hanging out. Play football upside down. They had to balance on top of the others upside down with the Muggle Wump and Bottom and the smallest baby monkey on the very top. They even had to eat and drink upside down, and that was not an easy thing to do because the food and water was up to your throat instead of down it. In fact, it's almost impossible for monkeys to simply do it, otherwise they had got nothing. All this sounds pretty silly to you and me. If it sounded pretty silly to the monkeys too, they absolutely hated having to do this upside down nonsense day after day. It made them giddy, standing on their heads for hours on the day. Sometimes the 2 small monkey children had faint with no much such blood going into their heads, but Mr. Twit didn't care about that. He kept them practicing for 6 hours every day, and if they didn't do it as they were told, Mr. Twit would soon come running with her beastly stick. So here's Mrs. Twit. Alright, one more chapter. The roly-poly bird to the rescue. Muggle Wump and her family longed to escape from the cage and Mr. Twit's garden to go back to the Africa jungle where they came from. They hated Mr. and Mrs. Twit for making their lives so miserable. They also hated them for what they did to the birds. Their every Tuesday and Wednesday fly away birds, they used to shout, jumping about in the cage, waving their arms. Don't sit on the big dead tree. It's just smeared all over with the sticky glue. Go and sit somewhere else. But these were English birds, and they couldn't understand word African language, and the monkeys spoke, so they took no notice, and they were using the big dead tree getting caught by Mr. Twit's bird pie. So there they are trying to warn the birds. Then one day a truly magnificent bird flew down out of the sky and landed on the monkey cage. Good heavens, cried the monkeys together. It's Roly-Poly Bird. What on earth are you doing over here in England, Roly-Poly Bird? Like the monkeys, the Roly-Poly Bird came from Africa, and he spoke the same language as they did. I've come for a holiday, said the Roly-Poly Bird. I like to travel. He fluffed his marvelous colored feathers and looking down rather grandly at the monkeys. For most people, we went on. Flying away on a holiday is very expensive, but I can fly anywhere in the world for nothing. Do you know how to talk to these English birds? Mugglewump asked him. Of course I do, said the Roly-Poly Bird. It's no good going to a country and not knowing the language. Then we must hurry, said the Mugglewump. Today is Tuesday. Over there I already see revolting Mr. Twit up in the lantern painting the stick glue on the branches for the big dead tree. This evening, when the birds come in the roost, you must warn them not to perch on the tree, and they will be made into bird pie. That evening, the Roly-Poly Bird flew around and around the big dead tree, singing out, There's sticky stick stuff all over the tree. If you land on the branches, you'll never get free. So fly away, stay up high, or I'll finish up tomorrow in a hot bird pie. So here's the Roly-Poly Bird talking to the monkeys. So, I'm going to stop there. I'll read more tomorrow. I hope you're all having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.